Now it's a podcast. And you know what time it is then.
It's... What time? What?
Well, it's currently 4:59, but it's actually time for the intro.
Oh.
Hello, my name's Zach.
And my name is Nick.
And welcome back to Careless Podcast, dear buds.
Oh, yeah, dear buds.
And of course, as per the usual around these parts, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm sipping on a Jack Daniel's Black Jack Cola. What are you sipping on, Sir Zach?
I'm sipping on Corona.
Ooh.
Because it was available.
It's a good classic beer, man.
It is a good classic beer. So, Nick, you know what time it is. It's True Crimes.
It's True Crimes.
Yeah, it's True Crimes again. Here we are. We've done 3 True Crimes now. This is number 4. I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah. I'm excited and terrified.
Today, we are talking about Edmund Kemper, a.k.a. the co-ed killer. That was the name he was given. Are you ready?
Hold on. Buckling in.
Strapping in? Okay, it's fair. So here we go. Edmund Kemper was born December 18th, 1948. He is alive.
Oh.
He is currently 71 years old, and he is rotting in jail.
Good.
So, his killing spree, I'm going to tell you this, and then later on it's going to somewhat contradict itself to an extent, but you'll kind of see why. So, technically, his killing spree started in 1964. Put that math together. He was born in 48, and he started killing in 64.
Wow.
So less than 20 years old.
Yeah,
he was
very young
there
age.
you go. And it went on until 1973 when he was caught.
Wow.
So, growing up, he had a very strong relationship with his father. And then, unfortunately, his parents divorced. When they divorced, his mother decided to take him and move him to Montana. His mother's name was, her name was Clarnell.
Okay.
Very weird name and
That is interesting.
very horrible woman. So, when I say horrible, incredibly abusive. She was a suffering alcoholic. She was a drunk. She was a violent person. She made Edmund Kemper sleep in a basement. Forcibly put him in a basement. Because she just felt like that he would hurt her for no reason. She outwardly would tell him and her friends, I don't give my son affection because I don't want him to turn out gay.
What?
That's the toned down version that I can say on YouTube. You can piece together what was actually said. His sister that he lived with as well had said that Edmund would like cut off the heads of dolls when he was like abused by the mom. She like slapped him around and shit too.
Oh wow.
Real piece of work. But yeah, she'd stated that he would cut off the heads of dolls, and his sister also teased him as well, which didn't help. And she has admitted to that. She said at a point she was like trying to be funny because he said he had like a crush on one of his teachers, and she was like, "Ooh, you should kiss your teacher, ha ha ha." And his reply was, "If I kiss her, I'd have to kill her first."
Oh.
When he was like 13.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So, when he was 14 years old, he ran away to his father back to California. Found out his father had remarried, had a stepson, and to my knowledge, from what I could muster up here on my research, there wasn't any really negative going on with that. Apparently everything was fine until eventually Edmund was asked to go live with his grandparents in the north, like the northern parts of California. So now we are in 1964, the year he starts killing. He's 15 years old.
Wow.
In August of 1964, Edmund Kemper killed both of his grandparents. After dinner one night with his grandmother, he had a very bad argument with her, and he went and got a hunting rifle and came back and shot her 3 times, as well as there were reports that there was a post-mortem stabbing. So she was dead, and then he was stabbing her. His grandfather was at the grocery store when that happened, and when the grandfather came back, he shot him in the head as he was walking up the driveway. And when asked why, he said, "I didn't want to put my grandfather through the thought process that his wife was dead."
Wow.
So he was sentenced to 6 years at Atascaro, I think is how you say that, State Hospital. He was released when he was 21 on his 21st birthday. When he was there, his IQ was tested at 136, which is almost triple the standard IQ of people. Like fiercely intelligent, which is not good.
No.
It never is. Never is. We've talked about it with every serial killer. It's never good. There's always that one thing. It's like, oh, that's not good.
That's not good.
You're a serial killer and you can do that. Not good.
No.
Not good. So, when he was released back to the custody of his mother.
Okay.
And he was, like I said, he was 21, and as a part of his probation, he had to do community college. He had to, no choice. The problem was, though, he wasn't accepted in a community college, despite him trying to. But he ended up making friends with a lot of the police because he wanted to be a cop really badly. And he was like local friends with like half of the police department.
Well, okay, that's another thing that's not good.
Yeah, not good, bud. So far, any questions, comments, concerns?
Just a very intelligent serial killer is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, now we're on to the year of 1973. This is when the killings start. So his mother actually worked at the school as well. So she kind of had connections to the school, which made him kind of resent the local community college. He was picking up girls who were hitchhiking to school and killing them. In total, there were 8 victims. There were 5 college students. There was 1 high schooler. Another woman who I won't name yet, and then another woman who I won't name yet, because boy, does this shit have a twist ending for you.
Okay.
So, what he was doing was he was picking up these girls and saying, yeah, I'll take you to school, and he was taking them out and killing them. He decapitated them. Several of them, I believe it was 3, I believe he decapitated 3 of them, and he buried them in his front yard.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. There was one thing where he was interviewed and he was being asked, like, what was it like? And he was like, well, there was one girl that I killed who had a camera bag, and I came home that night after killing her with her head in my camera bag. And he was like, and, I felt bad about it. I felt awful that I was doing these things. He was like, and then I passed this couple that were just this very happy, nice couple. And they waved to me. They said hello, and I said hello back. And I immediately got inside and just realized how upset and frustrated I was and how depressed I was, because I spent my whole life being told by my mother that I was weird and a freak and a nobody and I'll never get anything ever in my life. And he was like, and I realized, that's what made me do these things. A lot of times, and we've talked about this before, serial killers tend to come from some form of like abuse, is what a lot of people think. That's not always the case. It's a million reasons. This one, Edmund Kemper, is 110% a product of his environment. I mean, close to the dad, divorce happens, treated like beyond dirt, like lower than dirt on the totem pole to his mother. So he's an interesting one because it's very different compared to what we've kind of read and what you're used to, I think, hearing at this point about like Bundy, whose life was pretty normal.
Yeah.
Dennis Rader, who had a very normal life. Then you have, David Parker Ray, who no one really knows why. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, to say the least. Edmund Kemper is a weird one, man. Edmund Kemper is like, okay. So, when it comes to the murders and the victims, his first 2 was a pair, actually, of girls who were hitchhiking. Their names were Mary Ann Pesci and Anita Luchessa. They were on their way to school. He picked them up. He talked about how it was particularly hard to murder 2 at the same time because he was trying to keep one calm and tell her it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. I need your friend to get in my trunk. While the other one is, screaming. He was like, and then I'm lying to one of them while I'm strangling the other one behind my car.
Oh.
So, what makes Kemper's very interesting is, you know, he talks very openly about the regret and the weight it had. We'll get a little bit more into that as we go on with this. Where most serial killers don't really have that.
Yeah.
Where they, like I've told you, like with like Dennis Rader, BTK clearly didn't care when he's talking about it, like it's nonchalant. Bundy just pled innocent the whole time. David Parker Ray played the innocent card the whole time as well. But you have a lot of serial killers who don't have remorse. They don't care, and it's very apparent. Kemper, in most interviews, when he's asked about it, you can tell how he's very uncomfortable. He feels bad, and he consistently is saying, like, I can't believe I did these things. It's like, huh. That's rare. That's not something you normally see where someone's like, I can't believe I did this. Why did I do this? It's not me. It's like, okay. That's interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
To say the least, that is interesting. So to continue, shall we?
All right.
So, those were the two girls he murdered at once. And then you have Akio Ku. She was a 15-year-old. That was the high schooler he murdered. He murdered a 15-year-old girl on her way to school.
Jeez.
His other victims were Cindy Shaw, Rosalind Thorpe, and Allison Liu. And then we get to these. You remember his mother's name?
Yeah.
Yeah. He murdered his mother, Clarnell Strandberg.
Oh.
And one of her friends, Sally Hallett. So this takes place on April 20th, 1973. I can't remember exactly why he murdered the friend. I think it was along the lines of, like, she, like, came home with the mom, or, like, she found out. But his mother's was interesting. What makes his mom's murder so interesting is, number one, he later went on to describe it as something he would never want to do again. Something he felt cathartic with, almost. It was almost like he called it, to an extent, like a mercy killing, because he knew how bad of a person his mom was.
Oh.
He went on to say, he walked in, his mom was, like, drunk in her room. He just originally came to say goodnight, but he knew that, like, that night in her sleep, I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill her in her sleep tonight. And he came in, and he opened the door, and his mom's reply to that, when her son just opened the door, was to look at him, throw the book aside, shrug, and go, so I guess you just want to sit up and talk all night, right?
Wow.
Yep. He said, no, I just came to say goodnight, and he said he was, like, crying. And she laughed and did not care, clearly. And he said that he went to the garage and grabbed a claw hammer, if you know what that is. It's like the hammers that have, like, that big, like, razored edge almost.
Oh,
for, like,
okay.
hacking. And bludgeoned her to death with it while she was alive. And like, bludgeoned her, and right before she died, slit her throat.
Wow.
He went on to say he actually engaged in sexual things with the decapitated head, and Edmund Kemper, aside from, like, playing around with decapitated heads, had never actually had sexual intercourse, and he, in an interview, said, I lost my virginity to the corpse of my mother.
That's messed up.
Gets worse.
It gets worse.
Well, for the mom, at least. When he decapitated her, he said that he actually he put her head on a shelf. He said, and he was like, and I just screamed at it for hours and hours and hours. He spent hours screaming at his mother's decapitated head. He also threw, like, darts at it and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. He also apparently cut her tongue out and her larynx and put them down the garbage disposal.
Wow, that's really messed up.
And then after doing that, he said that after he was done with that, he literally just spent, like, hours just beating the crap out of the face. He was like, I demolished it.
Wow.
So, when that happened, he finally realized, like, it's over. He told himself that he wasn't going to kill anymore, that this was it. There was another interview as well where he actually talked about there was a good 2-month period where he didn't kill anybody, and he said he felt great, and he, like, even picked up 2 girls to take them to school, and he said he was like, this was my test. He was like, and I took them, and I didn't feel the need to. And he was like, and I realized that I did have one more victim, and it was my mother. So, yeah.
Wow.
So, after he killed his mom and cut her head off and yelled at it for a few hours, like a crazy person,
Yeah.
or a very intelligent person, because again, his IQ is 136. He's a very smart guy. Also, keep in mind, something I didn't say earlier, this is very important to keep in mind about Edmund Kemper. This man is 6'9".
What?
6 feet 9 inches, my dude. You're not overpowering him.
No, that's a giant.
Yeah. Something else his mother made fun of him for, actually, was his freakish size, quote unquote, as well as and I know I'm harping on the mom, but it's because it's a lot. The mom's the source of all of this, really. He had said that, like, you know, after murdering his grandparents and him being released, the mom apparently, and this is, I'm gonna say the exact quote. It's not graphic, but it's a little like, but I am gonna say it. His mom had said apparently to him on multiple occasions, do you know what it's like to have a son who's a murderer? Well, he's also out murdering people, and she didn't know because of the murder of his grandparents, apparently, as well as, and he would tell her, like, please stop, like, just leave me alone. There was one occasion where he said that she came home drunk one night, and he, like, helped her up the stairs. He was like, it was my mom, I still loved her. He was like, and as I was helping her up the stairs, we got to the top, and she, like, pushed me away and slapped me, and she was like, my murderous son, you're the reason I can't get fucking laid anymore, and, like, slammed the door in his face.
Wow.
Real bitch, huh?
Yeah.
Real bitch.
Yeah.
Real bitch. So, to continue forward, my dude. So after he killed them, and yelled at the head for a while, he realized that, yup, this is it. This is the last murder I'm going to do. But then he realized that he thought he was going to get caught, because he realized that killing her friend was a bad idea. And he decided to run away. Just run away. He fled 1,000 miles and said he stayed gone for about 3-4 days listening to the radio, and there was nothing. There was nothing. He thought he was the subject of a manhunt. He wasn't. He said he had an arsenal in his car, though. He was like, I loaded an arsenal in my car and left.
Wow.
He was like, I was prepared to go down with the fight. He came back, and when he came back, he said he waited for a few days and then realized, like, this has to end. Like, I can't keep doing this. I can't let, myself do it again. And I have the actual quote right here. He actually said in an interview about it, the original purpose for me murdering was gone. It wasn't serving any physical or real emotional purpose. It was a just pure waste of time emotionally. I couldn't handle it anymore. Toward the end there, I started feeling the folly of the whole damn thing, and at a point of near exhaustion and near collapse, I just said to the hell with it, and I called it all off. And by cut all off, I mean he called the police.
Oh.
So, he called the police, and he asked for one of his friends who was a cop. And they said, hey, and he was like, I need to tell you something. He confessed to killing his mother and her friend, Miss Hallett. And when the police came up and he was put in custody and they had the proof, he then confessed to the murder of the rest of the people. So the 5 college girls and the 1 high schooler.
Wow.
Yeah. So
he turned himself in.
Mm-hmm. He went into custody October 28th in 1973. Or 23rd, I'm sorry. He had 3 court-appointed psychiatrists all declare him legally sane.
Legally sane.
Legally sane. There was nothing wrong with him. I mean, good God. They apparently did a interview with him under Truth Serum, and Kemper said that he engaged in cannibalism, saying that he sliced flesh from legs of his victims and then cooked and consumed these strips of flesh in casseroles.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yep. So he went to jail. He got 8 consecutive life sentences. 8. So with 8 consecutive life sentences, total of 10 murders under his belt, including the grandparents, he was sentenced to jail, and he is there. Edmund Kemper still does interviews. He actually is one of the serial killers alive right now, currently helping the FBI build a database on serial killers.
Oh, wow.
Like, to this day, he is doing that. And that is Edmund Kemper, the co-ed killer.
Wow, that is so different than how I was expecting it to go.
You think co-ed, you think he's like stalking a college nonstop.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
Very different. So we always leave time for questions. Ask away.
Yeah, so he's helping the police now build a system, and he still does interviews.
Yep.
Does he do interviews about how to catch serial killers, or is it like about what he did?
It's interviews about him and the differences between him and what set him apart, as well as how to use the things he did and tools and clues to find serial killers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so you said he buried his victims in his front yard?
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't bury him. He cut off 3 heads and put them in the front yard.
Oh.
So, I got one more little tidbit for you, and this is I was waiting till after everything.
Okay.
So, from what was said, Edmund Kemper was a model prisoner. Didn't cause problems. Doesn't cause problems. But there was one account of one of his cellmates who was very dumb. Very dumb. Edmund Kemper said in an interview that he had a cellmate who he didn't like. He was very annoying. He was very stupid. And Edmund Kemper said, I don't like stupid people. Can't stand them. And the cellmate was very, very, very dim-witted, to say the least. And the cellmate was whistling one day, and Edmund Kemper looked at him and said, you're going to stop whistling. You're never going to whistle again.
Uh-oh.
And he whistled again, and Kemper's reply to that was to do what he called corrective behavior training, and he just beat the shit out of him. Edmund Kemper went on to say after that, he never whistled again. But he'd ask permission to whistle. Followed up quickly with, sometimes you gotta train people. He would also feed the guy nuts. He would literally give him treats and nuts if he did something that, like, Edmund liked. If he did something Ed liked, he would give him nuts. And I can't remember the guy's name, and he was like, yep, he really liked his peanuts. Straight up and down, was so smart to the point that he actually was able to manipulate someone to the degree that if they wanted to do something, they had to ask permission.
Oh my god.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
My mind is blown right now.
Yeah. Yep. Think about that for a second. Yeah, that happened.
That's like something Hannibal Lecter would do.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that is creepy and scary.
That's a lot of things.
Oh my god, that's so weird. It's so weird.
It's a weird one. That little I was waiting for that tidbit for the very end. I was like, let me wait.
You just sneak that little bit of information at the very end.
A little sneak a peeka. What else you got? Any more questions, my dude? What else you got?
I guess the only thing I want to do now is watch one of his interviews, because after we did the past true crimes, we went and we watched interviews with all of them.
We did, yeah.
So I think that's the next step that we're gonna do off podcast.
For sure. And I say this, I've said it with most of the true crime ones, and I say it again. I don't have any forms of feelings towards people who are killing other people. Period. Blank. I will say, though, with Edmund Kemper, I've watched interviews, and you have somewhat of a sympathy towards him when he's doing interviews, because it's not your normal interview. Like I said, it's very remorseful. He's crying. I mean, you can tell that this guy just didn't want to do this crap, but he couldn't stop it. It's interesting. He was too smart for his own good, and that was a big downfall as well. An IQ of 136. You're surrounded by people who are making fun of you all the time. You want to be a cop. You want to go to school, but you can't. Very weird.
Very weird situation, yeah.
Like I said, I don't feel anything for people who kill. If you kill, screw you, rot in hell, I hate you. Period, blank. But when you watch the interviews, it's very like, you want to be somewhat sympathetic, but then you do have to think, this is a guy with 136 IQ. This is a guy who could be manipulating you so quickly, and you would never know.
Yeah.
That's always one thing that when I've watched Edmund Kemper interviews, and leading up to this, I watched a few, obviously. It's very interesting. It's like, do you want people to feel sympathy for you, or are you genuinely sorry? Are you looking for sympathy? Are you trying to manipulate the mass public, or like what's going on with you?
Yeah.
He's very interesting.
Yeah.
He's a weird one.
He is a weird one. Very, very weird.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to deal with Edmund Kemper stuff, because he's really... I encourage everyone to go check out stuff on Edmund Kemper, honestly, because it's one of the more interesting ones I think we'll cover. And obviously, I mean, there's so much to cover with serial killers. We have so many more to go. But he's one that I think people will find a lot more interesting. I don't think people would find David Parker Ray interesting. I don't think people would really find BTK or Ted Bundy that interesting. But Edmund Kemper is interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. He's one that I'm like,
Yeah, I'm just like formulating like why in my head, I guess I don't know how to put it into words. It's just like really compared to like BTK and like Toy Box and Bundy, it's like this one it's like actually making me think of like how that like upbringing really does like can manipulate someone's like behavior and mindset.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
What's so crazy too is they've actually proven that most serial killers have some form of damage to their frontal lobe, which we've talked about in another podcast. I believe we did talk about that. But it's weird, because you have Bundy, who like was dropped as a kid. You have Dennis Rader, who was in the military and got hit in the head. You have you have David Parker Ray. So I hate it. I hate that guy.
Yeah.
Like, just disgusting human being. Don't know if I didn't find anything in my studying about that happening to him. I know he got in a really bad motorcycle accident, though, after the age of 21, before he started killing all the co-eds. So that could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
And a fun little quick tidbit about that. He got in a motorcycle accident. He got a $15,000 payout from it, which inflation rate would be worth $90,000 today.
Oh wow!
So logically speaking, if that happened today, he would have been given $90,000. Just a little food for thought.
Food for thought. Yeah, that's crazy.
A little crazy, but that's it, man. That's all the time we have today for true crimes.
Oh man, I wonder where we're gonna go from here.
I have an idea too. I might have a plan, or 12.
Or 12.
I might have a list of serial killers that we're going to go down the way of. I know in the Toy Box Killer one we talked about, like, that was not, as disturbing as it was, it's not the most fucked up. I have the most fucked up ready, but we're not going to do it anytime soon. We're going to wait. We need to I want to keep giving little, like, small ones like this, but once we get to it, get ready, because then I don't know where we go from there.
Okay.
At that point, I'm like, where do we go? We're screwed at that point. We'll cancel true crime probably at that point.
Oh gosh.
Because it gets bad. But that's it. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us for True Crimes and Careless Opinion Podcast, dear bud.
Oh, yeah.
And we're almost to 50 followers. So if you guys get us 50 followers, that'd be super swell. Because then we can give you guys embarrassing stories about each other. Be great. Be so great.
It'd be fun.
We're ready for it. We're so ready for it, guys. We're so ready. Well, you know what time it is then.
What time is it?
Let me just move the mic closer to my face. Don't you dare leave this channel without liking this video,
Commenting,
subscribing,
sharing,
caring,
clicking that bell icon so you get notified when we post another video,
and following us on the gram, which you can do right now. And if you don't know this by now, what are you doing?
You silly
What
goose.
are you doing, you silly goose? If you're on your computer, you're going to go to our YouTube channel, our beautiful YouTube channel with our brand new icons and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've noticed. And you're going to click a little Instagram icon up there on the banner, and it takes you to the Instagram website. And you can follow us there. Or if you're on your phone or your tablet, and you're on the YouTube app, depending on which version of the app you have, of course, it's either going to say description, bio, or learn more. Click it, and we have a little link. It says follow us on Instagram, and you click it, and it opens your Instagram app on your phone or tablet. And oh my God, wouldn't you believe it? All you got to do is click the follow button.
Wow.
Pretty simple stuff there, bud.
Simple stuff there, bud.
And on that note, we will see you guys next time.
Podcast.